We all know that Manchester United plan to bring in Cunha and Delap. On top of that, they need a midfielder. They need a wing-back, potentially a centre-back, potentially a goalkeeper. Now, how are they going to fund that? Well, the best way they can fund moves from multiple players this summer is by selling an academy player. Marcus Rashford, was sort of pushed out in January to prepare for his sale. Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho, the two that remains. But it looks like Garnacho could be booted out so United can sign Cunha and Delap. Højlund could be up for sale. Cunha and Delap, what is the latest news on that? Because Cunha, here we go, could come very soon. Even Romano himself has said that. United in for a surprise new centre midfield signing. Cardozo or Real Betis, could he be involved in an Anthony deal? And more links to Edison of Atalanta. David Ornstein gives a big update. We'll talk about the goalkeepers being linked to Manchester United and more. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news update, where we're going to round up all the news that's come out today. And there's been a lot into a 10-minute video, so it's nice and condensed for you guys. If you do enjoy today's video, feel free to hit the like button, and of course subscribe down below if you're new. Every day throughout now until the end of the transfer window, there's going to be a 10-minute video that rounds up all the news that comes up throughout the day, tells you how reliable it is, what it might mean, and how close deals are. So let's start by news on Garnacho and Højlund exit. David Ornstein said today, breaking news: it is highly possible that Garnacho leaves Manchester United this summer. David Ornstein, very reliable source of information, is saying highly possible. He's not saying he will leave, but he's saying it's highly possible. What we do know is Garnacho, pure profit, FFP, Napoli still interested, Chelsea still interested. INEOS were very open to selling him in the January window. I think Garnacho is one of those players that could be forced out, so we get those funds and pure profit to invest elsewhere. We're going to have a conversation about whether that's the right call to force Garnacho out or not. Could it be one we regret? Because while Garnacho is very frustrating and maybe doesn't suit the system now, he's only 20 and he gets in such dangerous positions, and I think his directness makes an impact. I think that he's looked a lot better these last 5-6 games. He's still not quite where we need him to be. His shooting isn't good enough. His decision-making in the final third isn't good enough. But if he develops and gets stronger and more physical and improves the shooting and decision-making, there's a dangerous player there. And in a 4-3-3, if we sack Amorim and went back to manager with 4-3-3, there would be question marks over selling Garnacho, and that's a huge call that INEOS have got to make. But it was said that United are ready to cash in on Garnacho to help finance the signing of Cunha. And we know that United want to get Cunha and Delap done early, get that sorted. But after we get Cunha and Delap, we're going to have to sell. To one, help finance that, but also help us with other deals. And if we can't get Sancho off, and if Rashford's difficult because Villa don't get Champions League football, United will likely turn to Garnacho. Højlund's not going to make us any money. Even if we sell him for 40 million, we'll only make 3 million off that. Whereas if you sell Garnacho for 50 million, that is 50 million that United can spend. Rasmus Højlund leaving United this summer is plausible. Now, I'll tell you this about Rasmus Højlund's potential exit. Man United, I don't think will sell him for less than 40 million because his book value is 38 million and they don't want to make a loss on selling him. They still believe there's a player there, but they know he's not ready to lead the line. I think he could go out on loan. I think if you get over 40 million, maybe Man United sell. But I do think there's a possibility he stays. I think Garnacho is more likely to leave than Højlund, despite Garnacho probably looking like the better player right now. So let's talk about this. INEOS will look to get funding for Cunha and Delap deals early, but raise funds for more deals when they... But to raise funds for more deals, they'll need to kick out Rashford, Antony, Sancho, which are key to their sales plans. Rashford, Antony, and Sancho leaving and Malacia are so key to how much we can spend. So is Champions League football. But if they want further funds, that's when they look at Garnacho. That's when they look at Mainoo. Mainoo looks set to sign a new deal. Garnacho, United could sell. Napoli have an interest in Garnacho, so do Chelsea. Napoli really want them. The question is, for me, I want 60 million for Garnacho. I think you sell Garnacho for 40 million, you look at that and think, you're selling him on the cheap. Yes, he might be frustrating now. Yes, some fans might not like him now. But you want at least 50 million base fee for Garnacho, at least going to 60 million add-ons. I think Garnacho's a 60 million pound player. When you look at Tyler Dibling being, nearly 100 million, Semenyo, 70 million Bournemouth want, you can't go and sell Garnacho for 40 million because you're desperate for fun. You need to make sure you get your money's worth. I'll say that now. So, United kicking out Garnacho for funds, is that a possibility? I do think that Rashford was sort of forced out a little bit in January because INEOS are thinking of PSR. Because right now we need Marcus Rashford. Whether you like him or not, we probably need him. He boosts our attack. And I think while selling Garnacho is a huge risk, he could become a £100 million player. You know, you look at how Chelsea sold Salah and Kevin De Bruyne, and Chelsea fans were happy at the time. That went back to bite them. And that's why, would you sell a Mainoo? Would you sell a Garnacho? It could bite us, you know, because we always talk about how good these youngsters are, but we need to utilise our own. And You know, Garnacho is under this microscope at United, whereas if you watch Tyler Dibbling every week, I'm not convinced Tyler Dibbling's better than Garnacho yet. I think Tyler Dibbling's got great potential. Some weeks I watch him, he's fantastic. Other weeks I watch him, and he's as frustrating as Garnacho. But sometimes I want Garnacho gone, I want Tyler Dibbling. But if you watch Tyler Dibbling every week, you'd see he's just as frustrating. Now, Rashford, in my opinion, was essentially forced out in January. He asked for a move. He fell out of Amorim, but he was essentially forced out without a replacement because INEOS was so desperate on focusing on the summer and making sure they could sell him to get him off the wage bill and get the pure profit in. And I think with Garnacho being an academy player, this is why they'd be more focused on selling Garnacho than Højlund. If Højlund was academy and Garnacho was brought, we'd be focusing on selling Højlund right now. I believe that United could very much, and I say kick out Garnacho. I don't know if it'd be a kick out, but very much try and force Garnacho out. Force Garnacho out for funds. You know, they want to sell Casemiro, Anthony, Rashford, but that could be difficult. Then they'll look at Garnacho. And as I mentioned, Højlund's book value is £38 million, sorry, not euros. United won't get much by selling him. Same with Onana. And that's where, you know, United needs funds desperately. Anthony, you sell him for 30 million, you're not really going to get much because his book value. Rashford, if you're going to have to pay off his wages, you might only get 20 million in actual profit. You know, Casemiro, not much because of his book value. I guess you get him off the wage bill. Sancho, that's where United might go, well, we kind of need funds. A bit like McTominay last summer, which Ten Hag didn't want to sell McTominay. Remember that. He didn't want Agate. He wanted to keep McTominay. INEOS sold McTominay. I seriously think Rashford and Garnacho could go. So let's talk about Cunha. United feel they can get the green light from Cunha soon in terms of a salary, contract and project. Amorim considers Cunha a top player, top guy and the perfect signing for United at this stage of the new project. And as I've said before, Cunha's best role is a left 10, and that's where he'll play an Amorim system. He knows the role, he's done the role, he's 25 years of age, he's performed week in, week out for a poor Wolves side. If Cunha's playing in the same system for a side that isn't performing to their best and still performing, that's the box that United ticks, as well as being Premier League proven. But what I like about Cunha is how desperate he is for the move, how much he wants Manchester United, that desire to play for Manchester United. He's always wanted to play for Manchester United. He's got that passion, he's got that desire off the pitch. You know, some people might not like him, but he's got that mentality that Bruno Fernandes brings where he wants to win, he wants this, he wants that. And while there's elements of his game which can be frustrating, silly fouls, silly red cards, I think he's got what you want in a Man United player. Like, he's ready-made. Delap, I think, is great, but he's a project player, and I don't know if we need another project player. I still think we need ready-made a striker, but Cunha is ready-made. And I said, if you sign Delap and Cunha, I'm okay with it. If you sign Delap and Dibbling, I'd be worried. I like Tyler Dibbling, and it might look like I'm criticising Tyler Dibbling in this video. I'm not. I would like us to sign him, but I don't think he's the be-all and end-all that's being made out to be yet. But he could be. Florian Plettenberg said that United are determined to finalise the deal for Cunha for the summer through deals still need to be clarified. Cunha is ready for the move. So that is interestingly coming in from Florian Plettenberg. Every source has basically said Cunha's ready for the move. Cunha wants to move, la-di-da. Now, after we sign Cunha and Delap, the most important position for me that we sign is a progressive midfielder, a centre mid that can play deep, which one can allow Bruno to play higher up, but two, someone that can progress the ball, because ball progression is where we lack, which is why Bruno plays deep so often, and Agate can't do it. Sam C said this. In recent weeks, United have been scouting Real Betis midfielder Johnny Cardozo. Now, as far as I'm aware, Spurs have first pick or something on this guy. When Spurs, I don't know what it is, but Spurs sold Lo Celso to Real Betis, and as part of that sale, Spurs get first choice when it comes to Cardozo or something. I don't 100% know what it is, but it's like if someone makes a bid for Cardozo, Spurs will be notified and they'll be allowed to match the bid or something like that. They made some kind of deal. So I think Spurs are favourite to get Cardozo. I've done a video on him before. Very good player. I still think he's not quite the progressive passer, but off the ball, very good. Very good talent. Could definitely be one to watch, especially with Real Betis struggling to afford the Anthony deal. Could they throw Cardozo the other way? That's a big question. Definitely one to watch. But we're looking at midfielders for sure, because it has been confirmed by Romano that, yes, a lot of the links to Edison, there's some truth to that. Now, I've said I like Edison, but now we've got Agate. I don't think we need Edison. And people might disagree with me on that. But Edison and Agate have very similar strengths and weaknesses. We need a midfielder that can progress the ball. Edison and Agate together, that's not going to work well. I mean, maybe I'd like to be wrong, but I think you want Edison or Agate, not both. Because Agate's off the ball and so is Edison. I think Edison's a bit better on the ball than Agate, but that's not their strength. United discussed Edison during a meeting with club directors and Amorim. United made contact with the players camp a few months ago to show interest. He's seen as one of their ideal midfield candidates. I like Edison. I'm not going to be mad if we sign him. He's a good player, improves our midfield. But I do think we need a progressive midfielder, someone that has that ability on the ball. Maino could potentially do that, but we're seeming playing him more as a 10. And yeah, talking of Kobbie Mainoo, the growing sense is that Mainoo will stay at United this summer. I've always said to you guys this last month, I believe that Garnacho is way more likely to go than Mainoo. From my understanding of people I speak to, Mainoo's expected to sign a new deal and not expected to go anywhere. David Ornstein is now saying that. If you've been following my channel, I've been saying it for months. I don't think Mainoo's going anywhere. I think Garnacho could be. And that is what David Ornstein's saying. There was reports that Newcastle were interested in signing Cunha Delap. Now, Newcastle, more exciting project than Man United, but if Isak stays at Newcastle, I think he will. If you're Cunha Delap and you've got to compete with Isak or Rasmus Højlund for minutes, while Newcastle's a more sustainable project, if you want minutes, you know that you can beat Rasmus Højlund to minutes. You ain't going to beat Isak to minutes, but he could definitely learn and develop from Isak. So that could be one to watch. I think there's a lot of clubs interested in Delap, but I think United have some confidence they'll get the Delap deal done by the fact that we're not looking at any other strikers. And then there was also updates coming in from TalkSport about United looking at the Brighton goalkeeper Carl Rushworth, who's 23, and he's being among options explored because Heaton and Baindy are expected to leave. He's valued at 5 million, and we might be looking at him as a second goalkeeper. So that's definitely one to watch. But listen, people, thank you for watching today's news roundup. I'm going to be live tomorrow talking about all these stories in more detail, but also other stories about Man United, maybe triggering a young player's release clause. Very exciting news. So make sure you're subscribed. I will be live tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Bye.